What's up guys, and welcome to another video here on Abster TCG. And today we are looking at my new favorite leader, or at least one of them, in the black and yellow Moria. So initially when I saw this leader I got really hyped for it because it looks like a really cool design. Like in generally I like both of these colors. Maybe not yellow so much in some cases, but I have been playing like Vegapunk, I've been playing some Nami, so there's actually some cool stuff that can get out of yellow, and I think that this Moria leader is a great design in how to do yellow. So in this video I'm just going to go through the deck and talk a little bit about like my vision for the deck and talk a little bit about my list. So this is how the list is looking at the moment. There might be some changes too. So I'm just gonna do this fast, put 4 in my hair, so there's 55 cards for this video, but yeah, I'm going to talk it through. So what the leader does is activate main once per turn. You may KO one of your Thriller Bark type characters. Your leader and all of your characters gain 1000 power for this turn. This is obviously an incredibly strong effect in a deck that can swarm the board and really get value out of all of your pieces, being able to swing higher numbers. I'm going to talk a little bit about like bait and switching with this deck too, because that's something that it can take advantage of. So the first effect is really good, especially because like almost all of your Thriller Bark cards does things on KO, so you're going to get value by both angles. And then when attacking, you may trash 3 cards from your hand, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. Now this effect also is good. It costs 3 cards to heal 1, so it is like on paper not worth it. But this leader, with like how the engine is looking, can actually take benefits of it. But yeah, I think the strong part about this leader is not solely the leader like effect and things like that. I think it's the whole package together, like how the engine works together with the leader. Because I think people said like this leader is mid and things like that, and looking at the leader effect, it doesn't look like giga strong in like a vacuum. But in context with the whole deck, I think this leader is really strong, and it gives you access to the black color as the yellow. And there's some good Thriller Bark cards from black too, as we can see here, for example in 6-cost Moria. So the idea of the deck is that almost every of the new Thriller Bark cards has this trigger. Let's just take the Hog back up as an example, as the Ryuma might not see play. I like to play like heavy trigger, but yeah. So the trigger is play up to 1 Thriller Bark type character card with a cost of 4 or less from your trash rested. And this is obviously like an insanely broken effect, especially when it is on every character. So that means that like every time you take a life, you can potentially like play out a body, and that's like cheating tempo, which is incredibly strong. We have seen it in Vegapunk, who put up a lot of good results in some tournaments, like in EB, and also I seen actually like one in OP12, right, got 2nd place in a regional. So I would say that Moria is just like Vegapunk on steroid, because you don't get the condition that your leader can swing, and you also get to flood the board as fast as that. So card for card, we could start with like the 2Ks, because we have them here. So we are playing 2 Kumasi and 2 Perona. The reason why Perona is here is because you can play it with every of your effect, and it's a searchable 2K by your 1-cost event and by your Absalom. I'm coming to him later. And then we're playing 4 Kumasi, which has trigger play up to 1 Thriller Bark type characters with 4 cost or less from your trash. So this card is obviously the best 2K in the deck, and it's incredibly broken that we actually managed to get one of these for the deck. Because then we don't have to play cards like Sindri, which essentially does nothing for this deck in my opinion. And then we can take a look at the 6-cost Moria. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go through them 1 card for all, because it's not sorted. So on play, if you lead a Thriller Bark type, play up to 1 character with 4 cost or less from your trash rested, and give up 1 don't card to your leader. This card is incredibly broken for this deck, because you can be able to spawn like your Hogback, your Perona to freeze something, or the Absalom. Just push your tempo further, and then you also get to leave like a 7k stick that also puts it on your leader, so you're going to get more value by it. This is like your best play on 6 to 7 Don, and you're always looking to have it in that spot, because it's obviously really strong. Then I have 4 Lilith. I'm back and forth on this card, so I've been trying some lists with 2 Lilith, 0 Flame Split and 4 Ryuma. I've been trying a list now without Ryuma, 4 Lilith and 2 Flame Split. Or maybe there could be like a combination where you play 2 Lilith, 2 Split and 2 Ryuma. It depends like how much the 2 additional triggers does for the numbers of the deck. But what it does on play, look at top 5, take a trigger card. So you can essentially search your entire deck except for Lilith, Moria and Perona. Which I really like, because your bombs in the deck also have trigger, makes it so that Lilith can search it, and also the triggers activate these cards on play effect. So you could get a trigger that gets to search your cards. The upside is making the deck more consistent, because you are reliant in finding your pieces, getting trash, so you can start like reviving them and grinding with them. But the downside is that you are going to cut the trigger consistency in the Ryuma to play this card, in my opinion. So yeah, obviously an incredibly strong card for the deck, and I would not be surprised if I'm going to stick with 4 copies of the Lilith. And then for like the Thriller Bark engine, like the 3 main characters of the deck, we could start with Absalom, which is a 3-drop. It's incredibly good for the deck, because if you are going first, you want to keep your tempo, pushing the tempo. Start with a body on 3. This is also argument for Ryuma to play. I can just go through Ryuma fast. On KO, draw 2 trash 2 cards from your hand. So it's just a good effect, fixing your hand, consistency, filling up your trash, and then it also has the trigger. So it is actually a good card. But Absalom, on KO, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Thriller Bark type card and add it to your hand. So it essentially is a Perospero, like on KO, search, and it also has the trigger to play, as all the new Thriller Bark characters. So this card works really well together with the Hogback that we're going to get through later. But yeah, you're going to cycle through this card, play it, KO it by leader effect, or your opponent's going to swing on it. Keep searching, find your pieces, fill your hands. You maybe can be able to activate your leader ability more often, or just like getting into like your big pieces as the 8-cost Moria and the 6-cost Moria. Essentially, so a really strong card. Then we play 4 of the Sindri. It's a 3-cost blocker. I've seen some lists not playing this card. I think this card is a mandatory 4 of in the deck, because it has the same trigger as all the other ones, so it just gets power by that. But also having a blocker is incredibly nice, because later on against some decks, if you are in a grind game, you can just bring it back up with Dr. Hogback or your Moria, just to have a blocker out. You could probably like heal with leader, and then your opponent have really tough time finding lethal through it. So I think this is a mandatory 4 in the deck, and it's incredibly valuable later the game goes. And then we play the main man of the deck, the card that you always want to have in your starting hand, in the 4-cost new Dr. Hogback. So what it does is on KO, play up to 1 character with a cost of 4 or less and trigger all the Dr. Hogback from your trash. So this card is incredibly strong because it works well with leader, because you're essentially getting a free buff to your entire board, and you also can get up a valuable piece like Perona or Absalom that can give you search, or you can resolve the Perona effect that we're going to get after this. So essentially the Hogback being so good for the deck actually gets a great argument to play more Liliths, because you just want to find the Hogback, have it in trash, so you always have a great target for your abilities. The problem is, if you don't have Hogback in rotation, is that when you are going to spawn a body from, for example, one of your triggers, then you might need to take Absalom, and then your opponent can swing on it. You will get a search, but you're not going to stick a body on board, while if you have Hogback, they can't really swing on it, because you're going to get value, so they have to swing in your face. But if you decide to swing on Hogback, you still get to have a body out for next turn. And this deck is a tempo deck, as I would say. So it's incredibly important to get a big board as fast as possible and out-resource and out-grind your opponent. So best card in the deck, you're always looking for it. Yeah, I don't think I have to explain it more. And then we have a really interesting card, which I initially thought this card looks okay, but I think it's incredibly strong, because there's a lot of more mid-range decks in the format. Now on the dev sim, there's a lot more of the new leaders played, of course, and less of the old ones. But being able to free, it says on play, up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a 6 cost or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn, and you also have the same effect on KO. This card is really good when grinding into more aggressive decks, mid-range decks, and decks that can threaten your life more, because you will be able to freeze one of their bodies so they can't swing with it. and then you can, for example, pop it next turn to keep stunning the body and floating it back up and down. A good card that this card could target, for example, is the 5-cost Smoker that I've seen the new Green Miog deck play, which is really annoying with the banish for your life. So yeah, this card is incredibly strong, but I would say a tad bit weaker than the Dr. Hogback and your Absalom. It also has the trigger to play something from trash, so a really good card for the deck, helps you out grinding, but a little bit weaker than your other payoff cards. And then for the first late game bomb in this deck is the new 8-cost Moria with one of my favorite arts in this game. I really love like how this art is done, and I'm sad I'm probably going to play the alt art over this one. But yeah, so what it does, it's a 8-10, so it's a huge body. Like 8-10 is incredibly big, it's vanilla stats. And on play up to one of your Thriller Bark type characters with a cost of 4 or less from your trash, or you can add it to the top of your life. So this is essentially like the new 8-cost Moria, but of course it's only Thriller Bark locked. But yeah, it's incredibly strong for the deck because you can either decide to heal if you're a little bit low on life, or you can just play a body like the Hogback, pop it, pump your whole board, play Absalom, play a Sindri or like a Perona 3 something, and then you get to swing. So having both of these options are incredibly broken. And also the trigger is a little bit better than all the other ones, because the trigger is play up to one of your characters with a cost of 4 or less from your trash, which means that you can essentially play everything that the deck already can do, but it doesn't have to land to the board rested. So then it's, for example, a great target for Sindri because all the other ones play them rested. That means that Sindri can't take the block, but with Moria, for example, you can take a block. So yeah, an incredibly strong late game bomb, which is flexible, that you can keep tempo going, or you can decide to heal to stay alive more. And with this deck having so much healing, like it's really hard to push through, because like you are so aggressive, your opponent is going to be lower on resources. So if they decide to do a push when you have 3 life to take you down, you could like suddenly spawn 2 bodies and then you have lethal next turn. So this deck is also really difficult for your opponent to play into. Like I've seen some people starve, but starving it is also slightly hard because like the tempo alone is big. Like you can just like play out bodies, play them more, and you can swing. So it's not like Vegapunk where starving really works. But yeah. And then we have the next card, which I think might be the best card in the deck, or at least the best late game bomb in the new Boa Hancock. If your leader is the 7 Warlord type, as the Moria is of course, your opponent adds a card from the top of their life to their hand, and you get to heal 1, which is a really good effect. Because as we said, this aggressive deck, so having an effect like this, burning a life from your opponent and also gaining a life, is incredibly strong. The burning together with us getting a life, like we get a life, gives us more options to get out more bodies for triggers, staying alive, and like your opponent having to take a life makes it so that like our push is even more effective when we are swinging. So incredibly strong card for the deck. It synergizes with the Lilith, of course, and you're always looking to have these later on in the game. And then for the events, we play 4 Hurry Up and Make Me Pirate King. It's just a look at top 3, reveal a Thriller Bark, and you can put it to the trash. It's just generically good. It's really good in the early turns to fill up your trash, etc, etc. And I think it's funny that this one is uncommon. All the other ones of these has been rares, so we can see like the power of the game going up. Like rares, uncommons, doesn't really matter anymore. And then we are playing 2 Flame Split. This is like a flexible card. This card is obviously incredibly strong into decks like Emu. It's also really good into Ace because you can rest their Marco blocker. So if Emu is still a strong force in the format, which I think it will be if it doesn't get touched by ban list, I think playing Flame Splits are going to be really important for the deck. It's also searchable by Lilith. And then we're playing 4 Brickbat. It's your standard guard point event. It's a 3k counter on a Thriller Bark leader or character. But it also has the trigger to play something for trash, which obviously, as I said over and over again, is incredibly strong for the deck. You will use this once in a while to defend, mostly when your opponent are going to swing for lethal, but mostly it's there for the trigger. So if you don't like this card, you could play Yuma instead, if it is either or else. So also I wanted to touch a little bit on some other things I've seen with this deck. I've seen a lot of people trying to play the 1-cost Thriller Bark package, like looping Inupe. I don't think this is super strong for the deck, because for all, you have to play 8 cards in your deck, which in my opinion doesn't justify the means. Playing the Thriller Bark stage and finding Inupa at the same time is like a little bit inconsistent, I would say. Maybe this engine plays more cards to mill, so you are able to loop them together. So the idea is to play the Thriller Bark stage, revive Inupa, cycle, and then pop it to pump your board. But I've been a more bigger fan of playing like this more trigger heavy deck and really playing into the engine. Then I've seen some people play the 4-cost Perona, which says on play, give up to 1 of your rested 1 cards to your leader or 1 of your characters. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, play up to 1 Thriller Bark type rested with 2 cost or less from your trash. I think this card of course is decent, but as you can see in my list, I don't play any 2-drop except I guess the Komachi, which is a 1-drop. So I don't think this card is as good for the deck, at least in my list. I guess it makes more sense with the Inupa engine, but I think if you're going to start to play things like this, I think you are straying away from the power this leader really has in like being a really trigger heavy tempo deck that just wants to push your opponent's resources. So I think I also touched on all the cards I've seen. Yeah, I don't really like the new Mice card. I don't really like Sindri either. Yeah, I don't really like a lot more of these cards. Obviously, this card would be nice to play, but can't. Yeah. So as you can see, I'm obviously incredibly excited about this deck, and I want to do a lot of content for it. Yeah, I don't feel like I have anything more to say. Thanks for watching this video, and see you in the next one.